Welcome, I'm Darren, and I'll be your guide today as I look at the 1998 Pinnacle baseball set. This is the last set that was done with the straight Pinnacle brand name, and just about the last thing that was done by Pinnacle, period. And in a way, this is kind of a proper way to close out Pinnacle, because Pinnacle started off as a football card set, and then the last sport that they launched it in was baseball. So this basically kind of closes out the whole cycle. But it is unfortunate that Pinnacle fell apart basically around the time that this set was released. But at the same time, this set does kind of show the problem that Pinnacle was having, because Pinnacle was it was a great company at making really nice cards, especially right at the end. It's almost like when I was growing up and I would have a paper that I would have to do for school. I always did my best work way too late in the run. That's kind of what Pinnacle was doing, where starting out in 1997, they did not have good card designs, but partway through the year, they cleaned the designs up and made really spectacular cards. And then in 1998, they continued with these cards, with making really nice cards, except unlike the 1997 new Pinnacle cards, which had a very clear, very distinct, and catchy look to it, with these cards, there's nothing iconic about it. These cards blend in because it's all about the images, and the images do look great, and they're very, very well made. They just come through so well. But the design is very lacking on these cards. I mean, the Pinnacle logo is the main design that stands out. The rest of it, the holofoil box with the player name, is pretty minor. You almost don't even notice it. Even on the card back, things are kind of a mess, where they have the quad design, which looks more like a Pinnacle stand-up card than it does one of these cards. So you can look at the card and see that they were working really hard to make a really nice card, but they weren't making an iconic card, a flashy card, a special card, a card that you're going to remember. That is definitely not what these cards are. Even when you go over to the parallels, they're pretty lackluster. The Museum Collection card still has the Dufex background, in this case with a black and white treatment of all the detailing in the background. But the Dufex, it doesn't have the liveliness that we had seen in previous years. So it's not energetic. Even when you go over to the artist proof card, this again it's a lot more distinct than we'd seen with the Museum Collection, but still, just having that radiating circle it's something, but it doesn't have anywhere near the spirit that we had seen in the artist proof cards in New Pinnacle, which were exquisite cards. Here, it's kind of like they're going through the motions, and it's really strange when you consider the fact that the company really was on life support at this point, trying to survive. But while I am kind of harsh on this whole release, there is one thing I've got to note, which is that they did have two other parallels that were really cool. Their home stats and away stats. These are the same designs as the regular cards. The front, you can't even tell the difference. It's only when you look on the back, right below the stat line, just above the text, where it says home stats and away stats, that you can see that it's one of these cards. And the stats, of course, are cut in half, because it's only half of the games are at home, half of are away. But it's one of the quirks about 1998 Pinnacle, where you're going to want to look on the card backs of all of your cards just to see if one of these cards slipped through that you may not have noticed. But it does create a cool parallel for the main set, so that you have the main card, you have the home away, you have the stats, and you also have the Museum Collection, and you also have the artist proof card. So that means that there are 5 cards for the players. And of course, the 3 versions for the subset cards. Now, if a player was a part of the AllStar game, then his card has AllStar flagged down at the bottom. This is not a subset, it's just the way that the cards were made. But Pinnacle was really big on the AllStar game, or the AllStar weekend is really what this was all about. And so while these cards look really good, there is going to be something I'm going to be getting to very shortly that expands even beyond this. But the rookies are the cards in the set that actually do look like, they look special because they replace the holofoil player name with the word rookie, which has a consistency which allows these cards to actually look like an actual design. So the rookie cards read a lot better. In case you're wondering where the player name ended up, that's on the opposite side in black and white text running down the side. But the cards do have a very catchy look to them. Not an overpowering look, but enough of a look that they actually do look good. But they did have a couple of subsets, and the first subset is Field of Vision. And these cards have a much better card design, where I wish that they'd use this card design for the main cards in the set. It has a slight color fade and not a lot else beyond that. The player name down at the bottom, but past that, it's a very straightforward, basic front of a card, but it does have a great look to it that the main cards in the set don't have. Although the card back is quite a bit lacking in comparison, but it at least has a great look on the front. So it's got that. But they also had a subset called Going Jake. And Going Jake looks at players, the participants of the AllStar Games Home Run Derby. And so every one of these cards has a kind of angled look with the stadium for the Cleveland Indians in the background behind each one of the players. These are the cards that stand out, that are dynamic, flashy, memorable. Everything that the player cards were not. And they did have a couple of checklists at the end, but the checklist, this is where the set gets to be really fun. As much as I love the home and away stats, the checklist cards all look at the All-Star Game event, where the checklist on the back, but on the front they have a horizontal shot of the first card. It has the participants of the Home Run Derby. It's just a portrait looking at them before they got the Home Run Derby underway. But the other two checklists have Tino Martinez for one, where he's got the trophy for the Home Run Derby, and then the other one looks at players who are standing there for the national anthem before the All-Star Game. So that means all three of these checklist cards tell part of the story of the All-Star weekend, and they look gorgeous in their horizontal format. But that's all they did for the set, which is actually a pretty decent amount. That's not too bad. And I'm glad that that's the case, because when it comes to the insert cards, well, there's hardly anything. The first insert card is called Hit It Here. This is a card with a very, very distinct, strong brushed metal effect that has kind of a radial pattern to it. And on the card back, these are serial numbered out of a lot. But these cards also can be found as promo cards. So you'll want to check on the back to make sure that there's a serial number on the back, or promo if that's what you're looking for. But there are the two versions of the cards, so you'll have to kind of pay attention to that. They also did Spellbound, which they had started doing in 1997, where every single card has it. You have the player that it's about, and then there's a radial pattern of brushed metal, but they also have a letter on the card. And each player has multiple cards in the set where each letter spells out either the player's name, like Scott Rowland, or a nickname. So you need to collect all of the between 4 and 7 cards that go into the spelling out the name of that particular player, which makes this a lot of fun. And each one of the cards does have an individual number, so the set is actually laid out numerically so that it takes all of the cards, all of the letters, individual letters of the cards to finish up the set. The only other thing that they did for inserts in packs was their Epics cards. Now, Epics was something that they developed in 1997 with football, and then in 1998 they got to really roll it out in baseball, where this is a set that is spread out across multiple different releases. So you got to buy packs of Score and Pinnacle and Certified, different releases in order to get different parts of the set. It's a 24 card set, but it's broken into 4 groups, and every one of the cards has 4 different themes. It has game, it has play, it has moment, and it has season. And So in every single release, one of the 4 groups of cards has a different theme to it, whether it's game or play or season or moment, whichever one. When you can only collect the first 6 cards in one, second 6 cards in another, third and fourth. That's the way that it works, which means that in order to collect all of the cards for the set, all 24 cards in all 3 versions or all 4 versions, you got to buy packs of all 4. So you got to buy the Score, you got to buy the Pinnacle, you got to buy the Certified. You got to get all of those in order to complete the set in all of its iterations. And one of the iterations that it has is different colors. So each one of the themes has 3 different cards. It has an orange card, it has a purple card, and it has a green card. The orange cards are the easiest. The purple cards are in the middle. They're a little bit harder. The green cards are the hardest. So that means that anybody trying to collect this set, for every single player, the player has 1 card. Well, yeah, but they have 12 different versions of that card, except for the fact that one of the releases never did get released in time before Pinnacle went under, which means that one of the 4 different themes for each different player is missing. And that means that every single player or every single group has a different theme that's missing from that particular player. So there are only 9 cards for each one of the players in this set. It is pretty confusing, but it was a cool idea, and it's too bad that they weren't able to complete it all the way like they had done in football. But there was one other type of card that you got, and it was kind of in packs, which is that they had jumbo cards which were released in special packaging. So the jumbo cards is it's a truncated set of cards from the main set. These cards are not that much bigger than the main cards in the normal size cards. But it is, like I said, it's a jumbled mess. So some of the players come as player cards, some of them come as field of vision cards, and some of the players come as Go and Jake cards. So the set it's almost like an oversized preview set for the 1998 Pinnacle release. But that's what they did for 1998 Pinnacle proper. That was the last set that they did for this particular brand. And well, over the next couple of months, all the rest of the brands would come to a close as well. But this does bring Pinnacle proper to a close. Now, I've already done videos of looking at all of the sets from 1992 through 1997, both the regular as well as the new Pinnacle sets. I've already done that for baseball. I've also already closed out football at this point. So if you're curious about those, definitely go check those out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I do urge you to do so. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.